President-elect Trump will take office in a swirl of controversy with historically low approval ratings for an incoming president.
And he continues to denigrate the men and women of our intelligence agencies. That's not acceptable.
Trump begs to differ and says those polls giving him low marks are rigged. We'll break it down with our pollster Matt Towery, who correctly predicted the primaries and Trump's victory in November. This is Money, Power, and Politics. Okay, Marissa, let's start with this controversy that continues over Russia. Vladimir Putin now saying that the unanimous conclusion of our intelligence community that he meddled in our election to try to help Trump is simply a hoax.
He also praised Trump for his convincing victory, and he said he does not have dirt on Trump that he's holding over his head.
And so now Putin and Trump are defending each other and looking forward to warmer relations. And it's really worrying some Republicans, at least, because they have a very different take on the Kremlin that goes all the way back to Ronald Reagan.
But if history teaches anything, it teaches that simple-minded appeasement or wishful thinking about our adversaries is folly.
When Reagan entered the White House, he took a hardline stance in the Kremlin, and Republicans say it helped us win the Cold War.
They are the focus of evil in the modern world.
The Republican Party has long since distrusted Russia, and particularly its dictator Vladimir Putin, for human rights abuses, invading Ukraine, bombing civilians in Syria, while Russian journalists and dissidents mysteriously disappeared. And that's just the start.
Listen, it's Vladimir Putin who sent planes with precision weapons killing, hitting the hospitals in Aleppo. This guy is a war criminal, okay? He's a butcher and a thug. And I just came from the Crimea, where I met mothers whose sons have been killed by Russians.
So just a few years ago, the roles were reversed. Democrats wanted to improve relations with Russia, while Republicans ripped and mocked President Obama and Hillary Clinton for hitting a reset button.
Hillary Clinton hit that big smile on her face, right? Hit that reset button with the Russians. What did we get? What we got was an emboldened, taunting Russian dictator.
And along the way, they began to mock Obama by saying Putin is a stronger leader than he is.
Look it, people are looking at Putin as one who wrestles bears and drills for oil. They look at our president as one who wears mom jeans.
Well, President Obama may like wearing mom jeans.
And I can wear my mom jeans in peace. I hate these tight jeans.
Good.
But that's not the point.
I said he's a better leader than Obama, because Obama's not a leader. So he's certainly doing a better job than Obama is.
As Trump took off in the polls and took a much warmer approach to Russia, Putin's approval ratings shot up among Republicans, especially in the summer of 2016, when the Trump team doubled down on the talking point that Putin is stronger than Obama.
I think it's inarguable that Vladimir Putin has been a stronger leader in his country than Barack Obama has been in this country.
And with that, the tables have turned.
If our country got along with Russia, that would be a great thing.
With the next Republican president wanting to reset our relationship with Putin, while Democrats sound alarms. Meanwhile, Trump just said NATO has become obsolete and previously said he'd look into recognizing Crimea as part of Russia. All while the Senate Intelligence Committee investigates whether the Trump campaign coordinated with Russia as Russia meddled in our election to try to help Trump win.
But I don't think that we've ever encountered a more aggressive or direct campaign to interfere in our election process.
And so you have this controversy over Russia. On top of that, you have Trump's feud with a civil rights icon. On top of that, a feud with our own intelligence community. And collectively, that may be pulling down his poll numbers quite a bit.
Yeah, Trump's approval rating is down to 34% in the new Monmouth poll. And the Washington Post and other polls show Trump will enter the White House as the least popular president in modern history. Now, Trump doesn't buy it. He tweeted today, the same people who did the phony election polls and were so wrong are now doing approval rating polls. They are rigged just like before.
Now, to his point on the flawed polls, before we bring in Matt here, let's try a little test to show why you can't always trust the polls. We're calling John McCain now to work into a discussion on polling.
It isn't just Iraq.
Hello?
Certainly Iraq is part of it, but it's not just Iraq.
Hello?
It is certainly other parts.
Well, bad connection, but we also happen to have Governor Rick Scott's phone number here. We're going to call him, see what he has to say.
Somebody is calling. I don't know who it is.
Okay, well, let's try Senator Pat Roberts. I just saw him at the Frozen Sing-Along at Disney. I know he'll pick up.
Graphic preference issue.
Ah, come on.
Hello?
Just let it go, Mr.
So I guess a lot of people just don't answer their phones these days. And that's one of the reasons why you can't always trust the polls. Many depend on robocalls, which by law cannot reach cell phones. Landlines are going away. And when you do find somebody by phone and ask if they want to take time to take a survey,
no, no, no.
More and more people are saying no, and that leaves the pollsters with declining response rates, often small sample sizes, sometimes oversampling one group over another, and they don't know what the turnout mix will be. And with shifts in technology and population and culture, their turnout models can be wrong.
If you look at all the polls and try to find the mean average of them, I think more often than not, you're going to be wrong.
Okay, so let's bring in our pollster, Fox 13 pollster Matt Towery. Matt, you nailed it. Election season last year, time and time again. Are the polls right or wrong that we're seeing today, showing Trump's numbers as down as they are?
Oh, I can't imagine that they aren't probably pretty much right. I mean, you can't go through the sort of media melee that he's gone through in the last few weeks and not suffer a little bit, particularly when you're not out there every day holding these rallies and the like he did before. So I think his numbers are down a little bit. They're probably not as bad as some of them. I mean, the pollsters were horrible this last time, and the methodologies are not improving, in my opinion. So I can understand why Donald Trump thinks the polls are rigged. They are not true. I mean, they're just not doing a good job of polling these days. The questions are asked wrong. The methodology hasn't changed. Nobody's learned any lessons. But that said, my sense is that Donald Trump is a little bit down right now because he's gone through so much. And all he can do is tweet and occasionally appear before the press. So he's pretty much getting bashed from one side to another right before he's supposed to have his greatest moment under the sun.
He's had this combative rhetoric from day one. What can he do to change that and help his numbers go up a little bit?
Well, okay, I'm a little raspy because I'm getting over a cold, but even if I didn't have this raspy voice, I would try to do my best Trump and say, be Trump. I don't think he's going to change. I mean, that's the point. Donald Trump sort of takes it as a badge of honor that he's not doing well in the polls because he feels like that means he's affecting real change. And he may well be, for all we know. The most popular presidents are not always the most effective presidents at the time. So if he were trying to get his numbers up, he'd quit tweeting. He would sort of stay quiet and let Congress sort of take over right now and approve his nominees for various cabinet positions. But I don't expect that of Donald Trump. I mean, it's going to, it's going to be duck every day because there'll be a new bullet coming. I mean, everybody races in the morning to see what he said overnight in his Twitter, and we're going to find out January 21st if he keeps it up. My bet is he will.
All right, Matt. Thank you for your time. We'll see you after the inauguration.
Yeah, pray for me.
Okay. Take care.
Well, coming up, the plan to scrap Obamacare may have hit another snag. Trump's pick to lead the health department is facing more controversy.
And Bill and Hillary Clinton are facing more trouble and controversy over their foundation. Okay, so Tom Price is Trump's pick for Secretary of Health. He's supposed to develop and lead this plan to replace Obamacare, but he is under a lot of fire tonight, Marissa, and facing some pretty serious accusations.
Yeah, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Price may have broken the law with some insider trading. Price is facing accusations that he bought shares in a company, then introduced a bill in Congress to help that same company. He reportedly bought up to 15,000 in shares of Zimmer Biomet, then days later introduced legislation that would have benefited that company. Trump's transition team says his broker did this and that Price was not aware of the transaction when he introduced the bill. Price's confirmation hearings are scheduled for tomorrow.
Yeah, that will get very interesting. Meanwhile, Trump, of course, has taken a lot of heat for not releasing his tax returns and has kicked off a broader debate, of course, over whether he should or shouldn't release them.
So tonight, Mike Flannery has an idea to put that debate to rest.
Donald Trump made a good point as he was ridiculing reporters who pressed him to release his tax returns. Those nosy, pesky journalists pointed out that every American president, back to and including Ronald Reagan, has made his tax returns public. So what? Asked the billionaire real estate mogul. I got elected anyway. And he's right. But I do think we should require disclosure of full income tax returns for the chief executives who come after them. And I'm not alone. A state legislator in New York has proposed what he calls the, quote, Tax Returns Uniformly Made Public, or Trump Act. No presidential candidate could get on the ballot in New York without releasing full tax returns. Legislators in other Democratic states are jumping on the bandwagon with similar proposals: California, Massachusetts, Maine, and Hawaii. Of course, they're aimed at Trump. It's not clear that any will become law. I like the idea, but to avoid cries of partisanship, it really should not apply to anyone now in office. Anyone who wants our highest offices, president or governor, should adhere to the highest standards of transparency. Show us your full income tax returns. I'm political editor Mike Flannery.
Well, a growing number of Democrats in Congress will skip Trump's inauguration. That includes Alcee Hastings and Frederica Wilson in South Florida, as well as Polk County Congressman Darren Soto.
So tonight, Hal Eisner asked why some of these Democrats say they will not attend the peaceful transition of power.
Okay. Are you going to go to the inauguration?
No, I do not plan to go to the inauguration.
Representatives Karen Bass, Maxine Waters.
I will not be going. I will be here in Los Angeles.
And Congressman Ted Lieu, all among the latest to say they're not going to the inauguration of the next president of the United States.
But I'm not going to normalize him. He has made a series of racist, sexist, and bigoted statements, and he continues to denigrate the men and women of our intelligence agencies. That's not acceptable.
I can't go to a ceremony where I'm looking at a man who talked about grabbing women on their private parts. I cannot go and say that I am pleased that this man is being elected president when he's talking about breaking up families and building a wall.
Representative Norma Torres, on the other hand, wants to be there, wants the newly sworn-in president to see her.
And when he is there being sworn in, I want him to see my brown face. I want him to see the face of the immigrant that was born in Guatemala and came to the U.S. and has so much to offer this country.
But after the inauguration, can these Democrats work with the new president? Is there going to be a honeymoon?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that this is shall we say, not a shotgun wedding here, but in any event, we'll see.
Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi taking aim, telling me she thinks we'll get through the peaceful transfer of power just fine.
The inauguration, of course, is a thrilling experience.
Even if some aren't thrilled about going. Pelosi is going.
I, as House Democratic leader, have a responsibility to go, and I have a role.
Going or not going to inauguration is not about working with the next administration.
Well, I'm asking you to look forward. I mean, what do you think?
If they have a good idea, I'm going to work with them to implement it. If they have a bad idea, I'm going to oppose it.
Are you willing to give him a chance?
No, I'm not willing to give him a chance. Is he willing to give us a chance? He defined himself. He's the one who told us who he is. He needs to give himself a chance. It's not on me, it's on him.
Well, here we go. And President-elect Trump took another swing at civil rights icon John Lewis. He tweeted, "John Lewis said about my inauguration, it will be the first one that he has missed." Wrong, tweets Trump, or lie. He boycotted Bush 43 also because he thought it would be hypocritical to attend Bush's swearing in. Well, this takes the president-elect off message, but he is right about this because Lewis did say he had attended all the others, and he didn't. Lewis did, in fact, skip George W. Bush's inauguration after the 2000 election dispute.
And coming up, Bill and Hillary Clinton are facing more accusations related to their foundation. We'll take a closer look at the controversy over the Clinton Global Initiative after the break. Well, it's moving day at the White House.
Sure is. President Obama and his family, of course, are packing up their stuff. The Trumps are moving in. It's fascinating. When President Trump walks in on Friday, all of his clothes and photos will be in perfect position, perfectly in place, all the details down to his toothbrush. The moment he walks in, the Obamas at that point will be on the way to their next home, also in Washington. And the President Obama, will hold his final press conference on Wednesday. Outgoing Press Secretary Josh Earnest took questions today.
President Obama spoke in the Rose Garden. And he spoke forcefully, with conviction, about the determination that he and his team would show in trying to facilitate a smooth and effective transition with the incoming team. And we lived up to that promise that the President made on November 9th.
Meanwhile, the Clintons are still facing controversy over their charitable foundation.
And a key part of the organization is about to shut down. James Rosen shows us why and what it means.
The Clinton Global Initiative claims to have helped millions of people, but Hillary Clinton in 2016 wasn't one of them. For the Democratic nominee, CGI and its parent group, the Clinton Foundation, became points of controversy amid allegations the Clintons traded access and favors, particularly when Mrs. Clinton was Secretary of State, in exchange for large cash pledges, often from foreign governments.
Why isn't it what Mr. Trump calls pay to play?
The Clinton Foundation made it possible for 11 million people around the world with HIV/AIDS to afford treatment.
Now, with this dreary New York State Labor Department form filed on January 12, the Clinton Global Initiative notified state authorities of plans to lay off 22 employees for the reasons cited on the form: discontinuation of the Clinton Global Initiative. Financial analyst Charles Ortel has reviewed mountains of foundation filings and claims neither it nor CGI ever complied with the laws governing charities.
Filings in New York State for every part of the Clinton Foundation, the health, the global initiative, the main parent, have never adequately disclosed these gigantic sums, hundreds of millions of dollars, towards the Clinton Foundation that should have been reported in New York State filings year by year beginning in 2004, but they've never yet done that.
A foundation spokesman told Fox News of the layoffs, "This is old news that was reported on widely back in August and September."
We're going to set up some of these things as individual foundations without any of our being involved. We're going to transfer the operations of others to other operations.
Existing financial commitments to CGI projects will be fulfilled, and the 2017 meeting is still on for CGI University, which gathers university administrators, academics, and celebrities to help students develop their own solutions to global challenges.
I don't think the plan was ever for the Clinton Foundation or the Clinton Global Initiative to go on forever and ever at the same level. Bill Clinton said, "I want to do this for at least 10 years. He did. He set some metrics by which he wanted to improve people's lives. He met them.
Their finances aside, the Clinton Foundation and CGI were revealed in the WikiLeaks documents to be a locus of interoffice and family tension, with Bill Clinton's aide, Doug Bann, predicting in one email that Chelsea Clinton will hurt CGI because she has repeatedly, quote, gone to daddy to get decisions changed. In Washington, James Rosen, Fox News.
And coming up, we have a cover-up in Washington you may not expect.
They're covering up the name of the porta potties. Why would the inauguration staff censor the porta potties? We're about to find out.
So the company that is putting out the porta potties for Friday's inauguration is called Don's John. So as you can imagine, this is stirring up quite a controversy.
Thinking that the president's name is on the porta potty. So you're telling me that they're taping up the names?
Oh,
come on.
Important to note that they have strict guidelines for advertising down there. So,
well,
and this isn't the first time Don's John was down there for an event. Yeah.
How about that? That's our show. So we will see you tomorrow night.